Hi, let's talk. Is this the end of Alibaba? I believe if Alibaba was a movie, it would probably have at least 10 sequels to it because every time it's the end, it's the end, it's the end. So long story short, I don't think so. And I would just like to apologize that because I wasn't in Singapore, so I was not able to give you timely updates about the entire data breach and why Alibaba stock is essentially just gyrating around the $100 to $120 range. So since I'm back, I'm here to share my opinions on whatever that has transpired over the last week or so. So just last week, I actually ran a poll on my community tab trying to understand the sentiments around Alibaba stock, especially for those of you who have vested interest, and to understand what you guys think and to tap onto the wisdom of crowds to see whether do you guys think Alibaba will see sub 100 again. And this was run 7 days ago, and 64% of you actually said that yes, we will see sub 100. And of course, due to the law of large numbers, Alibaba did revisit under 100 again, I think back in 15th of July. However, we did not close under a $100 level, so I guess it's a 50-50 now. So if you were to look at the chart patterns of Alibaba, it does seem like we kind of bottomed back in March of 2022 at the $73 mark, and right now we are still trying to hold this uptrend, fingers crossed. They did break down of this yellow uptrend that was drawn previously, and currently we are just trading a little bit above the $100 range. So I did demarcate this $100 range with this purple line, and we shall see if this uptrend denoted in this blue color line will actually hold. So I think the biggest concern, at least over the last 5 days, where you can see that Alibaba stock price essentially collapsed by at least 20%, was really this problem or this challenge where Ali Cloud was essentially quote-unquote hacked. So let's go through some of the details of what actually transpired and let me provide some opinion on that. So a total of a billion record being stolen from the Chinese database for sale on the breach forum. So a threat actor has taken to a forum for news and discussion of data breaches with an offer to sell what they assert is a database containing records of over a billion Chinese civilians allegedly stolen from the Shanghai police. And if this alleged data breach was true, this would probably be the biggest data breaches in the history of humankind probably. So hacker then offered to sell the lot for 10 Bitcoin, about $200,000. We have saved HackerDen's post as a PDF in case it vanishes. So if you were to look at the forum's thread where they allegedly were selling 1 billion users' data, so the database contains information on 1 billion Chinese national residents and several billion case records including name, address, birthplace, national ID number, mobile number, all the crime and case details. So looking at the different details that were divulged due to this hacking incident, it is definitely scary if you are part of that 1 billion leaked data. So back to the article itself, why does it concern Alibaba at all? So the gigantic civilian data leak, if confirmed, a hacker is selling an alleged Shanghai police data leak, and the hacker says it's from an AliYun private cloud server. So essentially that's why Alibaba was involved in this scandal. So 5 people confirmed all of the data, including case details that would be difficult to obtain from any sources other than the police. 4 more people confirmed basic information such as their name before hanging up, reported the Wall Street Journal. So I was truly stunned when the first person picked up. I really believed the whole thing to be fake. By the third, I was shaking, both from the nerves of trying to explain why I had that extremely private information and the weight of realizing what this leak could mean for so many. So personally, if you were to ask me of my entire read of the situation, I can only tell you this. I'm not a cloud security expert. I don't have expertise in terms of trying to decipher who's at fault, whether the bug or vulnerability of the system was due to Ali Cloud's infrastructure or was it due to a negligent actor working in the government agency. I don't know. So if you're to look at some expert opinions in this space, who is probably more in tune with whatever that's happening, CZ, who is the CEO and founder of Binance, tweeted back on 4th of July, so our threat intelligence detected 1 billion resident records for sale in the dark web, including blah blah blah, likely due to a bug in an Elasticsearch deployment by a government agency. So CZ's post came 4 days after HackerDen, with some facts match. It was unclear if the CEO was referring to a different event, but I would presume so. He later tweeted again, this time alleging, this exploit happened because the government developer wrote a tech blog on CSDN and accidentally included the credentials. So honestly speaking, nobody has a clue of whatever happened. We need proper investigations to take place. But that being said, the stock market is a forward-looking mechanism, so they will attempt to front-run a lot of all this news and potential fines or potential regulations that's gonna be raining down on Ali Cloud and Alibaba as a group. The interesting thing is, if you were to superimpose the timeline of the events that transpired, HackerDan's post on the forum was back in June of 30th, 2022, and CZ's post came in 4 days after HackerDan's. And if you were to look at the price chart or price pattern of Alibaba stock itself, back in 30th of June, Alibaba's price action actually went from 113 all the way to the highs of 125. So that's at least a 10% return. So which is why I was actually following this news regarding Ali Cloud. But when I look at the price action, it does seem like the market just doesn't care about this leakage at all. However, when it started making to the news of the US reports and saying that how Alibaba's executives are being hauled in and how the government is potentially going to sanction Ali Cloud, that was when a lot of fear sets in, and then you see this huge drawdown and huge drop in terms of Alibaba's price action. So the first question that popped out at the back of my mind was, why are government agencies still using Ali Cloud, whether is it private or public? Because for those of you who don't remember, to refresh your memory a little, back in August of 2021, there was a new data security law that was passed by the government essentially, where China orders state firms to migrate to government cloud services. And we are talking about the Shanghai National Police, and I'm sure they do hold extremely sensitive and vulnerable data. So the notice for this data security law comes just days before a national legislation come into effect, with penalties of up to 10 million yuan for violation. So China's state asset watchdog has ordered its firm to accelerate data migration from cloud services by tech giants like Alibaba and Tencent to the government's own infrastructure. So from my understanding, this vulnerability was actually present 14 months ago, which we will discuss later on. So the kicker really came in to essentially collapse the entire stock price itself was when Alibaba's executive was being hauled in to discuss the Shanghai police data leak. So since the discovery of the leak, Alibaba's engineers have reportedly been ordered to review database architecture first in its cloud and to check configurations used by other clients. So now, the biggest question we have to answer for all Alibaba shareholders would be, is Alibaba responsible for this fiasco that happened? So essentially, Alibaba is under scrutiny in China, a country where data is almost a top priority, and negligence when it comes to security is not acceptable. I think the same can be argued for any single country out there. I think no other countries out there in the world would want to give out their citizens' data to other people, whether malicious or not, and who knows what they want to do with the data. So even cybersecurity experts have confirmed that the data was stored on Ali Cloud's servers, apparently by the Shanghai police. So the fact that the data was left unsecured online for almost 14 months without a username or password guarding access would inevitably place the Jack Ma-owned company under the limelight. And it's true. So as you can see, this new data security law that was passed was back in 11 or 12 months ago. And allegedly, the 1 billion user data was left on the cloud unsecured for almost 14 months. So if you have to base it on that assumption, who knows how much data was already being siphoned out. So local reports also indicated that Alibaba Cloud won the bid for the Shanghai Police Security Bureau's Smart Public Security Comprehensive Service Platform construction project on the July 15, 2019 with a budget of around 22.5 million yuan. And likewise, like I suggested, this only lasted a little over 2 years when back in August of 2021, there was this new introduction of a data security law. So after understanding the facts of the case, I'm not a cybersecurity expert, and I don't have deeper insights into understanding the investigations that transpired. So all I can say is, we have to wait for the investigations from the government to come to a close and to provide a report, both from the government and also Alibaba. Without the official reports, everything here online is just speculations. But I would just like to put a comma to this entire discussion. China puts cybersecurity and data privacy quite high up in its priority list. So after this thing has transpired, and if this allegation of 1 billion users' data being leaked, then somebody's head is gonna roll. Regardless of whether is it the public servant's negligence, or whether is it really a loophole on Ali Cloud's architecture. And if it is, we can probably expect a huge fine on Alibaba Group again, and that's just giving you guys a heads up. However, to just put a temporary full stop on this entire debacle, I know a lot of international investors would wish to see a lot of all this Chinese big tech company collapse. Regardless of the reason, whether they hate the company, they hate the government, they hate the country, etc. That being said, every time there's a high profile case, people are going to say that this is the end. So it's the end when the Evergrande thing happened. It's the end when the food shortage thing happened. It's the end when China and Australia had their own trade war regarding coal. So it's the end when the economy is slowing down. It's the end when there's a bank run. And now it's the end for Alibaba because Ali Club was embroiled in this controversy. I'll leave it up to you to decide whether there are so many endings for all these different companies. With that, I'll see you in the next video, but more importantly, I will see you on the moon. Goodbye!